Hi everybody, welcome to my channel, Frugalisama. My name's Sam. This is where I talk about all things sewing. And today I've got a little bit of an update of the things that I've been making during the month of October, and an update on the workshop that I'm setting up locally, and maybe some vague plans for November. So if that's the sort of thing you like, hit the notification bell. That'll tell you when I've got new videos out. Being a bit sporadic at the moment due to life circumstances, and as you may notice, I'm in a different location once again, so I'll go into that a bit later as well. So first of all, onto what I've made during the month of October. And if you've seen any of my recent videos, you'll know that I'm setting up a sewing studio in my local town. And obviously I don't have a great deal of time for sewing at the moment, but I've managed to squeeze a few things in. Namely, this is an Edie top from Sew Over It. It's one from one of their ebooks, and I made that for the Sew Upcycle challenge that was on, that was Becky and Karen were running. That's Becky from Notes from the Sewing Room and Karen from So Little Time. So a fantastic challenge, really enjoyed getting involved with it. I had all sorts of grand plans, and unfortunately, you know, time got away with me. So I managed to cut out the Norma blouse, but the other things that I wanted to do, which was the Rani skirt and I wanted to make some jogging bottoms out of an old dress. I still do intend to make those, but I've just not had time to do them. I've got the Rani skirt, I've got that printed, but I only collected that yesterday from the printers. So yeah, there'll be something that I'll be able to work on during the next couple of months or so. Not something that I've given up with altogether. Really enjoy doing upcycles anyway, so it's just something that I've not had time to get stuck into. The Norma blouse is all cut out. I've showed you that before, and I'll show you that. I'll go through the process of that when I get time. But this is the Edie top, and I made this from a maternity skirt. I kept saying it was a dress, and that's because when I bought it, I actually thought it was a dress. I thought it was like a bandeau dress that I could wear in the summer, and when I got it home and looked at it properly, the band, it was about that wide, I'd say, was doubled, and it had a little label in the back. I don't know if I've still got the other side of the label, but it was a Seraphim. When I've googled it, it's that's a maternity wear brand. Never heard of them, obviously not in the market for maternity wear at my age. But yeah, it was a really good quality viscose jersey, and the band obviously it was doubled over, so it yielded enough to get the sleeves out of. I did have all sorts of grand plans to make a puff sleeve or maybe something a bit fancier, but the Edie top is one of my favourite just long sleeve tops. This and the Uvita from Itch to Stitch, which is a free one, and I was hoping to get one or the other out of it. So nice practical mid length sleeve, and it just comes to my mid hip, and I just managed to keep in the original stitching from the hem of the skirt, so I didn't have a lot of sewing to do. So a nice quick and easy one for me, really. I whipped it up on the serger, the bits that I could, and you've no band to put on this neither, you just turn it over. I stabilised this before I turned it over so that it wouldn't stretch out or go wavy. Sometimes it has a tendency to go wavy, and I actually only zigzagged this. I tend to do twin needling if I've got time, but I didn't have time. So yeah, really lovely soft viscose jersey this, and really love it, and I've worn it a couple of times since I've made it. So that's one successful make. And another make that I made, another thing that I made right at the end of October was something for my mum. She does a lot of walking, and she's got this bum bag, and let me just hold it up for you. She's got this bum bag that I bought her a couple of years ago. It's massive for a bum bag, but it gets everything in that she needs for a day walk, as she calls it. So couple of weeks ago, I think it's a fortnight ago, she walks on a Thursday, and it's Thursday again today. She got it absolutely peed it down, for want of a more polite way of saying it, and all the contents of her bum bag got wet. Now, you can get covers for rucksacks, but for that size of bum bag, she couldn't get one. She got a rucksack cover that she gave me to have a look at, and it was way too big. It wasn't doing the job, and she just said, "Can I make one?" Unfortunately, my sister-in-law, she has a little company that makes bags and covers for camping equipment, and she told me sort of mid-October, she says, "I've got loads of offcuts if you want them for your sewing workshop. Do you want me to bring them for you?" So these offcuts are massive, really big offcuts. I can make Mars bags and all sorts out of them. So I got a navy blue offcut from her, and essentially all I did was a kind of a large elliptical circle. So it's nothing very exciting to look at, but it challenged my brain, because I didn't have a pattern, and I've just had that to look at. I didn't have any black elastic to put in. I would have liked like a round elastic to put in. I just used some white elastic. So it's just, essentially, it looks like a giant shower cap, if you like. So it's just a big circle. I've turned up it under, put some elastic in, and then I bought these little toggles. Bought a pack of all sorts. I've left it at the studio, but there was all sorts of bits and pieces from my local walk-in shop called Go Outdoors. It's just around the corner from me, and so there was toggles in, and there was the parachute clips and all sorts of things. If you wanted to mend rucksacks and things like that, lots of webbing and things like that. £5. So it was probably cheaper for me to buy 100 of these toggles, but I don't need 100 of these toggles. I have 5 of these, and I made a little pouch for it to go in, so when she's not using it, it just folds up nice and neatly inside that pouch, and will slot nicely inside there for her. So quick make for me. It took up a wet Saturday afternoon. And it didn't take much time. It took more time thinking about how I was going to do it than it did actually sewing it up. I thought I'd have trouble sewing that sort of fabric on my sewing machine, but I didn't have to use any special feet or anything like that. It is quite, it's sort of shiny, as you would expect an outdoor fabric to be, kind of sort of slippy, shiny, and then it's ever so slightly sticky on the other side, which is what's making it waterproof. And I didn't have any problems at all with that sewing machine. I thought I'd have to put a Teflon foot on, but it was absolutely fine. So that was that one. And then on sorry about the squeaking chair. Last Thursday, I had 3 people into my studio to have what I would call a soft launch, if you like, just see how the studio works. I will insert some footage from that day a bit later on for you to see. And I made a little cosmetics pouch, just as a tester for me to teach it to them. It's something that I've made lots of times before, but it's always good to refresh your memory. So I'll insert a photograph of that because that's also over at the studio. The point of difference, it's a so easy free pattern, and I'll leave a link below for it. It's a great little pattern, but I made it a little bit different by putting little tabs on the at the end of the zipper. It is a bit more time consuming, possibly a little bit fiddly, but it's always good to learn something new, even if you've made zipper pouches before. So I thought that would be a good lesson for somebody who's new to putting zips in, and you've got something at the end, something practical at the end. So that was really good. The studio worked really well, and everybody got on really well. I thought it'd be a 2-hour course, 2.5-hour course, I think. I thought it would be a 2-hour course, and it took us 2.5 hours, and there were only 3 of us. There were supposed to be 4, but unfortunately Sarah went down with COVID on the morning of the actual of the day we were doing the class, so it was down to 3. So we had Ruan in. You'll recognise Ruan from from before. My friend Sally and Sharon, who helped me get the Calax units. So yeah, it was a successful day, and then they very, very kindly, thank you girls for this, sat for an hour and a half with me and just gave me some feedback. I had a long questionnaire that I wanted them to, not to fill in, but just have a discussion, so I recorded that. That was really useful feedback for me to know what to do for future classes and what have you. So whilst we're talking about the studio, you might be wondering why I'm sat up here. This is my son's bedroom, and I've had to move my personal sewing equipment up here because we're having our kitchen done. I must be mad. I mentioned to my husband about, I don't know, 5 years ago that the kitchen really needed revamping. The tiles were tired and the worktop had got all chipped and everything. So again, I'll insert some footage of the state that we're in whilst I'm talking. So there's I've just got a sink in my kitchen now at the moment, which is great. I know some people have when they're having their kitchen updated, they don't even have a sink. But hopefully, we've just managed to get everything from the kitchen that I need into the dining room, where the little worktop bit that I've got in the dining room, which hopefully I'm showing you now, that's usually where my sewing machine is and my sewing desk. So I've moved that upstairs, so I'm sort of cramped in at the end of his bed. It's only a small room. And you're propped up on my ironing board because I've left my tripod at the studio. So it's all a bit makeshift at the moment. But hopefully I'll be back to normal in the kitchen within about a fortnight. The plasterer came earlier this week. It's all nice and plastered. Hopefully we'll get some paint on if the plaster's dried this weekend. And then, yeah, we'll be up and running with the kitchen back to normal, and I can get some things back to normal. So, yeah, that's where we are with that. I didn't actually get anything else made during the month of October. Obviously, I've got a lot on. But the other things that I've been doing is just sorting out website stuff and getting things onto Eventbrite so that people can book onto some classes, sorting out leaflets with the printers and the business cards and what have you. So I called to see Jane yesterday, and hopefully she'll have the leaflets and what have you by tomorrow, hopefully. And then I've decided that my launch date is going to be November the 12th. So not quite as the end of October as I'd hoped, but only a fortnight afterwards. So I've actually got I've actually got one class on Eventbrite so far, and that is to start on the 15th, and that's just a beginner's class. And then this afternoon I'm just going to get as many as I can loaded onto it. The getting things onto Eventbrite was a bit of a learning curve, but hopefully the other ones are going to be a little bit easier. So I'm going to have a launch date on Saturday the 12th, and that's going to be 1:30 until 4:00 at the actual studio. Not a lot to see, but I thought I'd just get people in and have a look around, see what the studio's like, see the machines and what have you, and then I can offer a bit of a discount if you come. So I will put the details of that down below in the description box if you're local and you want to bob along and see the studio. I'm not promising it'll all be exactly how I want it. I've still got some, trimming up to do, really, making it a bit more conducive to, a bit more pretty. I think that's the best word for it. It's functional at the moment, but it wants making a bit more pretty. So the other things that have happened this week is I've had my friend Dee over yesterday. Is it yesterday? I think it was yesterday, day before, Tuesday. She brought me some drawers, and we had a little bit of a chat as well. And hi Dee, if you're watching. So thank you so much for those. And they're going to be really, really useful. The Calyx unit has got a bit of a story behind it. If you watched my last video and I said, oh yes, we've got this Calyx unit and it was off marketplace and what have you, there were some dowels missing out of it. Props to IKEA. We sort of went online trying to find some of these dowels. My husband even thought he'll buy a long dowel and cut it all down. There were 30 of them, and I thought, no, that's not fair. It's not fair for him to have to sit and do all that. Anyway, we went online and IKEA send them out for free. I got a text, I think it was at the weekend, to say they're on the way from Slovakia, not even Sweden. And I thought, oh my lord, how long is this going to take? Anyway, they arrived yesterday, so the Calyx unit is up. I just need to get everything back on there now, and things in the drawers and what have you, and everything out of that corner that everything's in, and that'll look tons better. I can get the curtain up for the changing room before we launch. Dee has very kindly offered to. She's got a Cricut cricut maker has kindly offered to make me some decals to go on the windows for Stitch Make Create. So that would look fantastic. And then on Saturday, I got another 2 sewing machines. I seem to be building up rather a collection of sewing machines. Sadly, Fabrics for All in Leeds is closing down. So if you live local and you want a bargain, she's got 30% off fabrics. I think it's 30% off everything actually. But she was selling her machines. There were only 2 left when I got there. The Genomes, but they're a grade down from that one. So I picked up 2 machines from her, but they're great ones for basics, for basic sewing, so and learning to sew on. So I think I've got 7 machines so far now, so we should be okay. Plus that one, but I want to keep this here. Ideally, it'll be a spare if anything goes wrong. So anything else to talk about? So the plans going forward, I'm not going to overwhelm myself with sewing plans. I don't really want to go mad, but we have got Christmas coming up, and Alison at Sew Like Dotty and Adam at Adam Sews have got a fantastic challenge coming up called A Gift to November. So I've got a video coming out on the 8th of November for that one, so I will talk more about my plans in that video. So also what I'm getting involved with is Knit for Dementia. And that is a little challenge that is being run mostly on Facebook, really. But I picked it up on Facebook. I was just going to lean over and get my t-shirt. So this is the t-shirt that they sent me, and the challenge is to knit for half an hour a day. So I've just picked up a works in progress, a sock that I started ages ago, and I've just got the stitches to pick up at the gusset, and I'd not got round to it, so I thought that was a good one to finish off. So I've just been working on that half an hour a day, and it is sponsored, is this one, and I've just a huge thank you to everybody on Instagram who has sponsored me. I only put the sponsorship up yesterday, and I've got over £100 in sponsorship, so thank you so much to everyone. It is a charity that's close to my heart. I've got 3 out of 4, I had 3 out of 4 of my grandparents have dementia of different forms, and my stepdad and my mother-in-law as well. My stepdad had Lewy body dementia, which I'd never heard of before, but it was a particularly cruel disease. So yeah, I'm just raising funds for that, and just getting myself back into knitting again. Not that I need any more hobbies. And when I finish that sock, obviously I'll have another sock to knit. But then I've got, I started a little jumper for my mum's teddy, which I will talk about more in my next video. Started that, and I've got the stitches to pick up for the sleeves, and that one's done. And I've ordered, I needed a new needle for that, because that's a tiny little, I like to do mine on circular, and that is just a tiny little space. So that needle came yesterday, so once the socks are done, I'll finish that, and that'll be part of my gift to November gift. It is sewing only as a gift to November, and I've got some sewing involved, but that's part of the gift for my mum. I have done a few other bits of sewing actually. I've forgotten about this. My neighbour actually brought me a bag. She's got a bag that she absolutely loves. She's got lots of bags, but this one that she absolutely loves. Brought it earlier in the summer because it had got little. It started splitting, and I think it's been made from old ties. And it just started splitting, and I mended it for her in the summer, and then it had come apart in other parts. And I think what they've done is they've not interfaced the fabric, so it just frays really easily. So I've done a bit of mending. I've done a little bit of mending for my friend Lynn as well. I've not got that to show you, but it's something and nothing, but it's just little jobs that I've been doing here and there. So I've been doing sewing, it's just not a lot of it. And then my neighbour called me over the other day and just said, oh, I've got some fabric, do you want some fabric? I was just chatting to her about doing the workshops and what have you, and she just mentioned that she was making a Mars bag, and that a machine was really struggling with it. So I said, I'll come and have a look at it for you. So I went and looked at it for her. Turns out she'd not changed the needle in 40 years. So once I changed the needle, once I sussed out how to change the needle on her machine, it works fine. And yeah, and that reminds me of Mars bags. It is Movember this month, and if anybody wants to get involved with making Mars bags, I have on the Mars bag site. You can join my pod if you want to, and I'm hoping to probably put a session on during the month of November. I don't know quite when, but maybe get a few people together to do that as a community challenge. So that's it for me today. I think I've waffled on enough. So I will be back on the 8th of November with my a gift to November challenge ideas, and I will speak to you later. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos. Bye.